Hi, friends. So, at our last material pickup, as you all know, I gave you a animal book, and it's a library book. It's one of the two animals that you said you would be interested in researching. And now that we are finished learning about the different groups of animals, insects, amphibians, mammals, reptiles, and birds, we're going to start our own animal research. So, when you research something, it's looking for information that you don't know and it's looking for facts. So, facts are bits of true information. It's not things that you think you know, or you might have heard, or you might have seen on TV. It's facts, it's things that are true and they're proven to be true. So, that's what we're going to research. We're going to research facts about your animal. So, what your job is, you're going to need your adult to help you because your books might have some tricky words. I tried to find books that were on your level, but still might be some tricky words in them. So I want you to make sure you do a really great job of reading the book and that you have an adult there to help you if you get stuck on some words. So I have this alligator book as an example. So I'm pretending that I am studying alligators and not all of our books are the same. So, for example, this one has information on alligators and crocodiles. I'm only going to study one animal. I'm going to study the alligator. So I'll just kind of ignore, I'll still read about the crocodile. I'll kind of ignore that though when I get to my research. The information about crocodiles I'm ignoring. I'm finding out information on alligators because that's the animal I'm researching. Now, also, after you read your story, I need you to find this booklet. It should be in your binder. This is our animal research booklet. This is where we'll be putting the information that we find about our animals. Okay, so pretend I've read my book, which I really have read this book already. And then I'm going to start filling this out. So the title of this booklet is Animal Research, and then down here it says Researcher. Well, you're the researcher, so you need to put your name on this line. I wrote my name, but you're going to put your name. And then you're going to draw a picture of your animal. So we want these to look really nice. So take your time. I would suggest drawing it with pencil first and then adding color and adding detail. Then your job is to find this information. So I did part of mine for you. I didn't complete it all, but I did part of it to use as an example. So on this first page, I'm just going to zoom on. It says physical characteristics. So let me show you what I used in my book. I found this really great page in the book, and it talked all about the animal's body, the alligator's body. So physical characteristics are special things about its body. So alligators are reptiles, and so their bodies are covered in scales. This talked about their long, strong tails, how they have lungs, their sharp, pointy teeth, how they have ears on the side of their head. So this was a really nice picture and diagram of my alligator that I was studying. So I like that. Your book might not have a diagram, but it will have other information about the physical characteristics. So again, physical characteristics are things special about its body. So your job is to write 1 to 2 sentences about the characteristics of your animal. Try to be detailed. So don't just say, my animal has fur. Tell me what kind of fur. Is it black fur? Is it white fur? Is it long fur? Tell me more than just my animal has fur. You could say my animal has a thick, dark fur that keeps it warm in the winter. And then maybe tell me one other physical characteristic. It also has blank. So here's what mine says. Alligators have long, scaly, strong bodies. They have many sharp, pointy teeth. So I try to use a lot of detail to describe the characteristics of my alligator. And then down in this little box here, you're supposed to illustrate the animal and label the body parts. So I did not color mine yet, but I started drawing it with pencil. And I used one of the pictures from my book. I did my best. Sometimes animals are really tricky to draw. Alligators were really tricky for me, but I did my best. So I drew my alligator body and then I labeled it. So I labeled the long tail, the scaly body, its ears are on the side of its head, pointy teeth. I could also label maybe its eyes. And then I want you to color it too. Mine's not colored, but I'm just doing part of mine for an example so that you can get an idea of what I am expecting you to do on this assignment. Okay, on the next page, predators. Predators are things that want to eat your animal. Okay, so things that harm or eat your animal are a predator. So alligators are pretty ferocious animals, and when I was reading this book, it didn't mention any predators that an alligator has. So this is where I also would suggest you might need your adult around. If you can't find some of the information that's required in the book, you might need your adult to help you search other places like the internet. So what I did is on my phone, I typed in what are predators of alligators, and I read through some of the articles that popped up, and I made sure it was a reliable source, and I found out this information. Small alligators are eaten by raccoons, otters, jaguars, and other large cats. So when the alligators are babies, they do have predators. And I chose to draw a picture of a jaguar. I don't have to draw all of its predators, but I chose to draw a jaguar. And again, I would expect that you color yours. Okay. The next page is food. So what your animal eats. And then you're going to illustrate the animal with the food it eats. So I would draw an alligator and food, one of another animal. If it's an animal that eats food, I might draw, for example, alligators eat fish. So I might draw a fish by my alligator. Your animal might only eat plants, a certain kind of plant. So your animal might just be sitting by a plant it likes to eat, which would be a herbivore, right? If your animal eats meat, it's a carnivore. If it eats only plants, it's a herbivore. If it eats both, it's considered an omnivore. Geographic region, this is where your animal lives. So I want you to write a sentence telling me where it lives. Now, alligators are interesting. They are found all over the world, except for, I want to show you the page that I found. Actually, was it in this one, or maybe it was in a different book that I was looking at? But alligators are found all over the world, so I would have to check and make sure that I am stating the correct facts. But I would color in where my alligators are found. There's a couple places that are too cold for alligators, but for the most part, they are found all over. I wouldn't want to color in the areas that they're not found, though, and I'm going to write where they're found. And then on the next page is their habitat. And so this is where they live. Remember, a habitat is where an animal can live safely, where its needs are met. So most alligators live in fresh, swampy areas, freshwater swamp areas. Sometimes they live in, I read sometimes that they live in salty areas, but for the most part, they like the freshwater. So I started to draw a freshwater swamp. I included some rocks and some long grasses. Of course, I need to include my alligator here, and I might draw the water kind of a murky, like light brown color to make it look like a swamp. And I would write that. I would write a nice sentence saying alligators like to live in freshwater, swampy areas. Sometimes they can live in salt water. And then on the back, this is where you need to write your own fun facts. So I'm not saying that you have to write like certain, like how much does your animal weigh, or what sound does your animal make, things like that. But it has to be facts. Okay. So you can look through your book, and while you are reading your book, you might think, oh, that's really interesting. Like Zoe is studying the platypus. Platypuses actually lay eggs, which I think is super interesting. So she might write, platypuses are hatched from eggs. Um, you might write something like, let's see, a cool fact that I saw. Hmm. I saw that alligators are, when I read this, I was like, wow, I can't believe how big they are. I need to find that page. Oh, right here. I thought this was pretty impressive. So this is about the crocodile, but I did read, oh, the alligators can weigh up to 1,500 pounds. So I might say alligators can weigh up to 1,500 pounds. I thought that was really interesting. Another thing I thought was interesting was that most reptiles leave their eggs to hatch, and then the babies are just on their own. But I read on here somewhere, right here, most reptiles lay their eggs and leave, but crocodiles stick around. They stay close to the nest and protect their young. So on my phone, I read that alligators like to do the same. And so I might that write that as a fact. Mother alligators stick around and protect their young. And I also might just want to write that alligators are reptiles. I would like you guys to tell me what kind of animal your animal is. So if it's a reptile, amphibian, bird, insect, fish, what kind of animal it is. Okay. So when you're done, make sure that you're doing really nice pictures with lots of detail, lots of colors. Make sure that your writing all looks good and that it's written in complete sentences. When you're done, I want you to take a picture of the cover, and that's going to tell me that you're done with the research part. But don't lose this, because the second part of this assignment is then to create a 3D model of your animal. And so we'll talk more about that in a separate assignment, but basically you need to think of a way that you're going to create a three-dimensional model of your animal. So, oops, I'm sorry, it could be made out of paper mache, it could be made out of Legos, it could be made out of um, I'm trying to think, clay or Play-Doh. And then in not next week, but the following week, we're all going to present our animals and the research, okay? So that means you're going to show your friends and me on Zoom your three-dimensional model of your animal, and you're going to tell us some of the facts about your animal that you wrote down in your animal research book. Okay, friends, I'm going to give you until Friday to complete this. It's a lot of writing. I really want you to take your time on it. I want your drawings to look nice. And so you have until Friday to turn this in, okay? So you have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay, friends, I can't wait to see your pictures and your writing and all the facts that you learn about your animal.